Hello, everyone. Max Armstrong from This Week in Agribusiness reporting in one more time with our last report from the 2014 Fall Conference of the National Agri-Marketing Association. It was a great conference here at the Hotel Chicago with a superb lineup of speakers as more than 200 members of NAMA attended this meeting. Jenna Esch of Monsanto chaired the committee that put this conference together. I asked her to share some thoughts with us.
The committee did a fabulous job. We started about 12 months ago looking at the different opportunities in the areas that we wanted to highlight. Our keynotes are all about either case studies or leadership skills and how you can take that drive back to your own organization. And then the breakouts really hone down into more specifics, a lot in PR and crisis marketing and how do you ever overcome. We have a big data breakout this year. We have a lot in the digital revolution stage. And then we have going back to the basics with email marketing, because we know as we continue to get more and more different mediums to tell our story as marketing communication leaders, that we still need to keep the basics strong and build from there.
Our thanks to Jenna for her efforts and the efforts of those other NAMA members in putting the fall conference together. One of the speakers here in the luncheon sponsored by the National Association of Farm Broadcasting was farm policy expert Jay Truitt, who came from Washington to share some of his insight about what's going on these days in the nation's capital.
You know, what we've seen happen in Washington, D.C. over the last maybe 20 years or so, it's a pretty dramatic shift. In some respects, Washington still represents America. America is much more divided, much more partisan, much more split probably than they ever have been before. And that shows up in Washington, D.C. It's a tough place to do business today. And, you hear members of Congress say this is not fun anymore. This has really become hard work, as well it should be probably. We've got big decisions in the world and a lot of issues that really demand everybody's attention, but it's a tough, bitter, partisan place to function today, and that's just the reality that we're in, and probably in for a while.
When we see veterans like Mike Johans hanging it up after all of his years of service, I think it is a little bit disconcerting. Regardless of which side of the aisle they come from, farmers need those people in Washington, don't they, Jay?
Oh, absolutely. And I've been criticized for making the comment before that I think one of the worst things that happens to us is when we lose that seniority in some of those offices. And people that have seen the old debate, seen the bad decisions made, know not to go down that path again. When we bring new folks in, it takes a long time to educate them. And from an agricultural perspective, the more concerning factor is that we tend to kind of replace Mike Johans, who is a really strong friend to agriculture. People like him, Denny Hastert and others. We replace them with people that maybe don't understand what really happens out on the farm or a ranch. And so it takes an enormous amount of effort to really talk to those folks about what are the real solutions. And we live in a society that expects immediate answers to every problem. Most of the problems that we have in agriculture don't have immediate solutions. They're long-term plans. They take long-term investments and long-term thoughts. And those guys that have had 20 or 30 years in town become pretty valuable in that respect. And we're losing a lot of them now.
Jay Truitt with his analysis of that very dynamic situation in Washington, and one that is ever so important to the people on farms and ranches across the United States. That's our final report from the Fall Conference, the 2014 Fall Conference of the National Agri-Marketing Association, growing to greater heights these members were during this conference. By the way, circle it on your calendar. April 15th through the 17th, the big spring meeting of NAMA. It'll be in Kansas City. I'm Max Armstrong with This Week in Agribusiness in Chicago at the NAMA Fall Conference.